So about a year and a half ago, I was stuck in a high school classroom as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old maybe, with no money, not really anything to my name. I was, like I said, I was broke, didn't have many friends, I was overweight, I played video games all day, etc. I had nothing going for me, right? And in the past year and a half, 2 years, I've pretty much shifted it. If you've watched my videos at all, you have seen my progression from where I kind of started to where I'm at today. I went from that, pretty much went all in on online business and self-development, and I've made over 100 grand. That is personal profit at the age of 18. And honestly, in today's video, I want to just impart the wisdom I wish I heard. And I know people say this, but I truly, truly mean this, because I've written some things down over here, and this is the stuff that actually matters. I can give you all the business advice in the world, but none of it matters if you don't have this stuff down. So first, I want to start with a quote that is pretty simple and short, but it means a lot. And that is, new is not better, better is better, okay? And what I mean by that is you could have a million different business models that you start, So for me, for example, I started Shopify drop shipping, I tried to do that. I did obviously SMMA, so the social media marketing agency. I tried like clothing brand. I tried all this random garbage, right? And I tried this stuff. I watched these videos, and I went, a few months later, I was like, where's the money? Well, I thought I was going to be a millionaire, right? Like, what happened? And the whole point of that is, like, when you jump business, you keep going and you try to just try all these different things, you don't actually become good at anything. You become average at multiple things, or if not below average, right? In my case, I probably was below average. And if you look at the most successful people in the world, or at least people that can make a bunch of money in their business, it's usually because they've gotten to one industry and they've just become really, really good at it. They've just maximized their potential in, let's say, a social media marketing agency. They went from here all the way to here. They didn't try drop shipping and they got to here, or a social media marketing agency, they got to here, or, clothing brands and they got to here. They became really good at one thing and one thing only. And that point kind of I'm drawing back to was that wasted months of my time. Trying all these different businesses, it got me nowhere. And if you're watching this and you're trying to just go business to business, you're not going to get anywhere because you're just trying a million different things and you're being average at all of them. The people who get paid the most are the people who are good at things and above average at things. You won't become that if you're trying a million different things and you're a beginner, right? So super important. New is not better, better is better. Just become better at the thing you're already doing. Go all into it. For my case, I went into social media marketing agency, that whole SMMA realm, started my own agency, and I just became good at it. I spent the first 6 months failing, quote unquote, on paper, which I'm going to go into in a minute. And I got nothing from those 6 months. I didn't make any money. But 3 months later, I was at 10K a month. 3-4 months later, I was at 10K a month. Those 6 months was what forged those next 4 months to be good. I just had to wait it out. It's like God is like testing you in a sense. He's like, I'm going to see how far you go with this. If you go further enough, I'm going to give you the reward. You get the end result. And that is what happened to me. And that's what happened to most people, Like, if you're not able to fail for these 6 months, fail as on paper, you're not going to get anywhere. Because you're just going to be hopping and hoping for that next best, dream scenario outcome, which usually does not happen. So understand that. Stick with one thing and go far in it. You're going to see all the other shiny objects, the other business models, the other things. The grass is not green on the other side 99% of the time, because the problems that you think don't happen here, they have a different set of problems. And that usually equals to the amount of problems you're already currently facing in your own thing. You just need to get better and better at it and overcome those problems. So then long term, you will just be a better solution. You won't be average at everything. Simple case, simple kind of like point there. But back to those 6 months of failure. The 6 months of failure that I had, most people view that as failure. And I'm using the word failure because I didn't make any money, right? But the whole point of that was, if you can change your mindset, and this is something I've adopted, I want to say like the past 7 to 8 months, which is failing isn't even an option for me because I know regardless, I'm winning. I'm getting the skills needed. So then when I get to that breakthrough, I can really, really reap the rewards of what it took to get there. And I'm going to use an analogy. Recently, I've been boxing, right? And this kind of goes for anything. And I think most people know this, but the scariest people to go up against are the people who have nothing to lose. They don't care. They will literally jump in that cage and they were there to die or they're there to kill the other person. You know, like they are going to the maximum extent. They don't care if they die. Like those are the people who are the scariest opponents. And that goes for almost any realm in any human endeavor, are the people who are literally fearless. Like I mean the word fearless, literally, like fearless. And it goes for the same thing in business. The people who start with maybe $100, $200 in their bank account, usually if they literally are just like, all right, I'm going to spend this money because $200 is nothing. It's literally not going to even buy me anything I want, really. And I'm going to just use it because I'm going to try to multiply it. And if I do use it and I don't get anything from it, at least I learned something. Those are the people who have the right mindset. The person who's trying to save their $200 or save their $1,000 usually don't get anywhere because they're so afraid of risk. The person who is able to go through the risk and just be like, who cares, right? I'm going to learn something regardless, or I'm going to make a bunch of money. We'll see. They're usually some of the most successful. So take that as you will, and don't be afraid of failure, but also understand that there's no such thing as failure. Like, regardless where anyone's at, really, like, if you really think about it, you're going to learn something regardless, and most of the people who probably watch this channel are under 30, right? Like, you have nothing to lose. Even 40, even 50, like 40 years old, if you're under 40 years old, like, you have nothing to fail. There's no actually way you can fail. You're going to learn something. And just adopt that mindset. It's a big, big, big thing because you actually start to make more money from it, as you'll realize. It's something I've realized personally, and big, big, big game changer. So that's that. Hopefully that made sense. And I kind of wrote some other things down I'm going to talk about here. I'm kind of just going to go through the biggest, best points possible, and you guys take it with you will, whatever kind of comes to your mind with this stuff. So next thing is reverse engineer everything. Now, I'm going to kind of tell a quick story about how it's happened recently in my life. But, you know, it's actually been something I've been doing a long time. I just didn't realize it until now, and it's actually the right thing to do. So I was like I said, I go to boxing. There's a boxing gym, and there's a guy I met in there, and he's also a pretty successful entrepreneur. And he's like 30, 40, and I was asking him a couple questions, and I was like, what's the biggest advice you can give to me? And he said, have a clear vision on where you want to go, write that out, and work every day to get there, okay? I'm like, okay, vision, cool. Lamborghini, penthouse, boom, done, vision. And he was like, that's not a vision. He's like, that is like a materialistic goal that you want. And this is only like a couple months ago. And I'm paraphrasing things a little bit. I didn't actually say that word for word, but that's along the lines of what I put. So what he told me was, what you need to be doing, Carson, is write down your 1-year vision, your 5-year vision, your 10-year vision, also your 20-year vision. 20 years from now, I'm going to be 38 years old. Where do I want to be? Now, it's not as simple as, you know, first of all, I did this exercise, and I did this all in a Google Doc. You can do this for yourself. Pause this video. Feel free to do this for yourself. But the big thing for me was I wrote down every single time. I was like, what do I want? What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? So I wrote down the 5-year vision of what I wanted. And I gave it back to me. He's like, what is this? He's like, this isn't necessarily a vision. This is just what you want. He's like, go deeper than that. Go way deeper. He's like, when you wake up in the morning, what do you want to feel? What do you want to be doing throughout your day? You know, what do you want to have, right? Like, well, I kind of already said that. I already listed all that. But, you know, go way deeper on like, what do you want to feel? What do you want to wake up? When you wake up, what do you want to wear? All this stuff. Like, go way, way deeper. And I did this, and like throughout I was doing this, I had this subconscious thought where I was like, this is stupid. Why am I doing this? And I'm sure if you're listening to this, you're probably kind of having that same instinct, which is like, why am I going to talk about what I'm going to be wearing in 20 years? What I want to be like, what? But the point is, and this is kind of what it came full circle for me, and this is something that still helps me to this day, and I think it's going to help me for the next 10 plus 20 years, you know, which is, you know where you want to go, right? Someone that's sailing a ship and they have no destination, they have no map of where their end result, where their goal they want to be is, they're sailing in the middle of the sea for nothing. You're making money for nothing. You're literally you're making that next dollar to what? To what are you going to do with that next dollar? It's not meaningful. That's the point. It is not meaningful. You want to make your day-to-day intentions to make the money or to become fit meaningful. That's the whole point, you know? Like, you want to go to that end goal. So this is what it did for me. And this is what it can do for you too, it's like 12 plus pages, I think, that I wrote this all out, and I know where I want to be in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and 20 years. And I know what I want to have. I know what I want to feel like. And this stuff consciously I work every day for because I know what it is. I know what I want. And that's the point. And it sounds so simple, but like the vision is so important. It's very interconnected to your why. Why do you do the things you want to do? Why, Carson, are you making the money, spending the time now at your age to do what you do? You need to ask yourself these things. And usually with your why, this is something that's not as came as apparent as other things to me. And I'm still kind of working on it. But what I've learned with why and what, like understanding your why, is it usually comes from childhood trauma or things that when you grew up, like events that happened, somehow your childhood, like it shaped you to where you are today. And that's usually, there's something in there that's your why. And it can be very hard for people to understand theirs, but when you do find it, it kind of clicks. And I'm kind of still finding mine, but they're very interconnected, vision and why, I believe. And it's pretty important stuff. So, that's a big thing, is start to do that for sure. Please start to do that now and understand your vision, your why. Now, let me see what the next thing is that I wanted to talk about, which is, so that was your why. New isn't better, better is better. Third thing I'm going to talk about is you need to be re-engineering all your goals. Reverse engineer all your goals, okay? So that actually comes back to the why and the vision as well, is like you know where you're going and you need to make a plan to get there, right? So here, I'm going to show this example, pretty simply. I have a journal here where I'm not sure how good the camera will focus, but this was, I think, May or March, May, maybe April this year, where I kind of just wrote down every single day. I was trying to cut weight, what my weight was when I woke up, and I did this daily for a month. My goal was to, I was at 178 pounds at the time, and I wanted to get down to 170. 1 month later I started on the 5th down to the 6th, you can hopefully see right here, I was 171. So 178 to 171, it's roughly 7-8 pound difference. It was exactly like pretty much a month. I didn't necessarily hit the goal exactly, but that was what kept me on target, and this all comes down even deeper if we're going to go to a deeper level. What is your calorie deficit? How many calories do you need to eat per day? What is your deficit if you're trying to lose weight? What are you going to be eating as your intake to gain weight if you want to gain weight? So it all comes down to numbers, and this is directly correlated in business as well. In business, if you want to be making 10 grand per month, the first thing you need to do is look at your numbers you already have, or find your numbers if you don't have them already. And what I mean by this is, what does it take for you to get, $1,000, for example, right? So if you run a social media marketing agency for, I'm just going to use this case because that's what I ran, understand how many sales calls it took for you to close someone. And on average, when you close someone, how much would you close them for? So let's say you closed $1,000 every 4 calls. So 25% of the calls, you would make $1,000. And you were running, let's say Facebook advertising, you were running your own ads to get appointments. So you spent, let's say $10 per appointment, you need to spend $40 to get, on average, 1 close. So $10 per appointment, 4 appointments, 1 close equals $1,000. So you need to spend $400 on ads to get to 10K in a month, in 1 month. If you can do those appointments in that month and you factor in show rate, you factor in all the numbers possible. The point is I broke down the math from where I was, what the numbers I currently have, to what it takes for me to actually mathematically hit my goal. And if you don't have your numbers, if you don't know how to do this, you need to start finding them. So you need to either calculate how many DMs you need to send to book a call, or whatever business model you're in. This is different for everyone, but the point is still the same for everything, which is you just need to understand your numbers and backtrack what it takes for you to get to that goal once you put it out there based on your current metrics. And obviously metrics can change, things can get haywire a little bit, but it's following the same concept, the same principle. It's going to get you there, hopefully, eventually. So that's kind of that point, and reverse engineering everything is so important. Like, that's why I started with talking about the vision, because the vision is directly, you need to work back a plan to get to where you want to go. And that's what I did. I have a plan to where I want to be, and it's very, very important. So yeah, reverse, yeah, okay, cool. Talked about 3 things now. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. I'm going to touch on one last thing, and I'm going to talk about it pretty quickly, but it's very, very apparent where I am now. So this is on change your environment to change your life. And for context, earlier this year, I'll probably make a separate video on this, but earlier this year, I was pretty overweight. I don't know, I was definitely like 20 pounds plus overweight. And this is after I lost weight last year. So I actually gained the weight over the winter last year. And I was like kind of stuck at the earlier part of this year. I was like, I feel like crap. I live with my parents, it's not, I just don't feel like I'm in control, which is also a limiting belief. But I had the financial capability. I was making money last year. I was like, what if I just moved out and I just bought my own food? Like literally just controlled my environment, which is the point, which is in an environment like when living with my parents, I couldn't really control what's in the pantry or the fridge, right? Like there's a bunch of food in there that for other people that I might just go eat. Like it's not very controlled. It's not a controlled environment. And that whole point comes back to I changed my environment and I lost like 15, 20 pounds and I came back a whole different person. I spent 3-4 months pretty much socially, not socially isolated, but I was isolated essentially. Here, I came back 3-4 months later making more money than I was ever before. I was fitter than I ever was before. I was everything. I was literally everything except the social aspect, but I can increase that whenever I want. It's not something I'm necessarily worried about. So that all came down to me coming here, where I'm at now, where I changed my environment again, and I'm kind of just, I'm cutting, I'm getting much, much healthier, etc. In this fridge and in this pantry, there is no food in there that makes me tempted to want to go eat something, So I completely control what my surroundings, my environment is. I'm not going to go eat ice cream because there's no ice cream in there. And something I learned from a mentor of mine is he was talking to me, a very simple concept, but he was saying like the amount of time you would spend or the amount of energy you would spend in your brain subconsciously trying to fight that urge to go get the ice cream that is in that freezer compared to if you just didn't have any ice cream in that freezer at all is night and day. You can work better. You can go to the gym. You can work out better. You can do everything better because you conserve the energy because it's not an option. There's no ice cream in there. There is no possibility of me eating ice cream. I'm just using this as an example. So hopefully this makes sense because when you change your environment, you change your life and it's key. Your environment, the people you hang around with, it's so, so, so intertwined to who you actually are, right? And I guess the last thing I'll touch on this is if you don't have much money, or you don't have the ability to go move out or any of that stuff, maybe you're living with your parents, do what's in your power, do what's in your control. You can only do so much and do so good. So, maybe it's your desk environment, your workplace environment. Remove all the garbage off your desk. Remove the dust, remove the pens, all this random garbage. Make it a very clean environment and try to buy your own food. Try to buy your own food so the food you buy is, that's the only food you're eating, right? Or try to just do the best you can, right? And make your workspace, make your environment the best possible place for you to succeed. That's the point. So, yeah, hopefully this has made sense. I've kind of gone through 4 pretty important topics today that have just been so, so important in my life. And I know I've probably been ranting a little bit, but this rant has not only made me a lot of money in the sense that this is the lessons and the things that have made me a lot of money at my current age. And it's also changed the way I view things and I live life, essentially. And it sounds very broad and very everything, but it's so true. It is so true. And please implement the things I'm talking about today. The journal, of losing weight. If you need to do this with anything, please, start now. Start now. Start with your vision now. Start really, really building up where you want to be. You might have nothing right now. Build up your vision. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 1 year? And build your plan to get there. It might be a rough plan. It might not be exact. But the point is you have something. You have some plan. A plan is better than a dream, right? And even if that plan's not the best plan in the world, it's better than a dream. So with that being said, hopefully this video has made sense. And hopefully this hasn't been too much of a rant. And yeah, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video.